Hello, Flosstube friends. I'm Nancy Joy Trower. I'm the stitcher with the laughing face. This is Flosstube number 25. Today is August 1st, so that means I'm halfway through my summer, although I don't really want to think about it. Technically, it's more than halfway because I have to be back to school like that last week of August because Labor Day is early this year, but shh, we're not thinking about that. No, I still have several weeks. But thank you so much for joining me to see what I've been up to for the past couple of weeks. Those of you who've liked and subscribed and left kind comments, I'm so appreciative. I know there's so many other floss tubers out there, and the fact that you choose to spend time with me really means a lot. And I know that there's quite a few new subscribers, so welcome. Thank you so much for coming back. I hope that you see something that inspires you to stitch or a finish that you like, although today actually there's no finishes. We'll talk about that in a minute. I don't have any FFOs or FOs at all. It's all whips and new starts. So, but hopefully you'll see something that you want to start, and plans, and you'll see something you want to do too. So it's been a couple of weeks since my last video. I filmed the last one, as I stumble over my words. I filmed the last one right before we went on our family trip to Yellowstone National Park, and it was spectacular. We had a wonderful time. I'm gonna put a couple of pictures in, so I'm gonna just do that a little bit so I can leave space for pictures over here. So so it's supposed to be all 9 of us. There, Phil and myself, of course, our oldest son Matthew, his son and his wife Brittany, and then my 2 boys, Sam and Max. Max's girlfriend Abby came with us, and then Brooke and Vince. So it was supposed to be all 9 of us. Matthew and Brittany were taking their motorcycle out from Wisconsin to Yellowstone and making like a really cool trip of it. Unfortunately, 2 days into their drive, the cat escaped from her mom's house. And so they decided to turn around and go back and find the cat. They're just done a little bit of moving around. They figured the cat was confused as to where she was, and they were really worried about her. Thankfully, the cat was safe and sound. But unfortunately, Matthew and Brittany didn't make it out to join us for our trip. So hopefully next time we do something, they can come along with us, and hopefully the cat stays put. There was actually like a cat-shaped hole in the screen, and we saw a video. I don't know, they recorded something, and there was a bunny in the yard that was taunting the cat. So dumb bunny, and very determined cat, but she didn't like being outside and doesn't want to go outside again. So hopefully everything stays good with the cat. So the rest of us went from, Max and Abby left from Philly, and the rest of us left from Buffalo. We met up in Chicago and flew into Bozeman, Montana together. And I lived for 5 years in Bozeman, and it was really awesome to like go home. Not that it's my home anymore, but it made me remember how much I loved that area and how just beautiful it is. And it does make me miss the mountains. I would live in mountains again in a heartbeat. They're just gorgeous. So it was really fun to be like, hey, there's this and there's that as we were driving through Bozeman. The airport was literally twice the size. When I lived there before, there couldn't land big planes on it. So I usually took like 3 flights to get anywhere if I was coming back to this area. My parents lived in Syracuse, or at least the Syracuse airport. It would take me 3 flights. And sometimes I'd be all the way down to Atlanta and back up again. It was crazy. But they've increased the size of the runways and the size of the airport. And so that was really cool to see. The town, in fact, in the city, I guess, has doubled in size since we lived there, which is kind of amazing. So we had a nice drive. It's one of my favorite drives in the world. From Bozeman into Yellowstone is just gorgeous. We stayed in Gardner, which is the north entrance of Yellowstone. The original entrance where the big archway is right there. Mammoth Hot Springs is like right there. And right before we left on the trip, the hotel that we booked, the Yellowstone Gateway Inn, called and said, do you want a house instead of the 2 suites that you've booked? And we were like, yes, please. And the house was gorgeous. Absolutely beautiful. Here are a couple, this is the view that we had from the little balcony. We would have liked to spend more time on the balcony, but there were sandflies everywhere, and they landed in my coffee the second morning. I was like, nope, not going to sit out here. But it was just great. And we had plenty of room. We had a really great kitchen. So, because we cooked breakfast and lunch or dinner every night in the house, 7 people eating out all the time. So having that big kitchen was really great. We had a table we could play games around. That we did that the first night. And so the house was really awesome. So the first day in the park, we drove, and my decision, because Yellowstone is enormous. It is the size of Delaware and Rhode Island put together. So going to see things in the park is quite a bit of driving. So my plan was to drive from Mammoth at the top, Hot Springs, all the way down to where we wanted to go and then work our way back. So the first day we drove down to Old Faithful. It was about an hour and a half drive to Old Faithful. So we stopped there. We got to see it shoot off. And then we had our lunch. And then we continued on. We went to West Thumb Basin, and where there's quite a few hot springs, and we saw that. And we had a little bit of a turnaround because we said to go back the way we came, and the GPS started sending us in the wrong direction. I was like, but I wanted to see all the stuff that was back that way. So we had to turn around. And it kind of made for a bit longer of a day than we expected. But we did get to see a lot of awesome stuff. We did stop at Biscuit Basin, which, if you've seen the news, is the area of Yellowstone that erupted literally 2 weeks after we were there. 2 weeks to the day. And so the basin area is at the bottom. Like, they have a parking lot right there. That's where the boardwalks are. The Sapphire Pool, which, look at that water. Isn't that amazing? That, according to the reports that I read, was putting out quite a bit of steam right before the other pool erupted with mud and hot water and rocks. And they said it was the Black Diamond Pool, although I'd have to check because I have a picture of the Black Opal Pool. I don't know if there's more than one black whatever in the area. This one was smoking, so maybe that was the one that blew. I don't know. But, of course, Old Faithful is called that because it's really the only one that they can predict. They can't predict anything else really in the park. So when it goes, it goes. But we walked through this basin area. And then if you continued on past the basin up into the mountain, there was this beautiful waterfall. And this is called Mystic Falls. Makes one think of vampires because I'm pretty sure that's in a, I don't know, what was that? The Vampire Diaries? I think it was Mystic Falls. Team Damon. But anyway, so beautiful, beautiful waterfall. And we hiked all the way up there and it was just spectacular. Saw lots of, we saw a lot of scat along the way that the guys were trying to figure out, is that moose? Is it like, what is it? It was probably a moose. So, we did that. We saw a couple other, the Great Prismatic Spring, which is the one that has all the colors around it. So we had a really lovely day. It was quite a bit longer than we expected. That one wrong turn. We also hiked the wrong way to see the spring. And unfortunately for me, I had a massive outbreak of exercise-induced vasculitis, otherwise known as golfer's rash. I've had this for the past couple of years, and usually it's just around like the top of my socks. But that day it was like all the way up the front and back of both legs, like all the way to my knee. And it was hot and it was itchy and it was very uncomfortable. And my sweet kids were like, we're cooked dinner. You go take a shower. And I was like, having grown-up children is awesome. So they were, that was Max and Abby, and it was really sweet of them to do that. Because it was late on the way out of the park, we ran into a herd, well, not into, but we went by a herd of elk. And that was pretty cool. They were just like hanging out on the side of the hill, eating the sagebrush and in the cool of the evening. And there were even a couple elk like walking down the parking lot in Gardner when we left the town and out of the park and into back to where our hotel was. The second day, we went to the Grand Canyon of Yellowstone, which is cool because I had never done that. When I lived there before, we lived in Bozeman, so we would go to West Yellowstone and then we'd go into Old Faithful. And we did go out Mammoth once, but never really explored the rest of the park that much. And like I said, it's the size of 2 states in New England, so it's a huge park. So it was really cool that on this trip I got to do things I'd never done before with this family. You know what I mean? So that was pretty cool. But the Yellowstone Grand Canyon was absolutely gorgeous. There's an upper falls and a lower falls. And we did a bit of hiking around those. Really beautiful. We did another basin with a lot of hot springs. And we also did a little hiking up. We're trying to catch a glimpse of Druid Peak. I picked up a book, it's around here somewhere, of The Reign of Wolf 21, which is, there's a documentary about the wolves as well, and Max had watched all of that, and they're the Druid pack because they live near Druid Mountain. So we tried to do a little hiking to see that. And that was pretty cool. Saw lots of cool flowers and just beautiful, beautiful, beautiful. And the third day, we went to Lamar Valley, which is basically going across the top of the park. So we went in at Mammoth, drove along the Lamar Valley out through Cook City, had lunch there, and turned around and came back. Oh, and there's a chocolate shop that had huckleberry truffles that would blow your mind. Oh my gosh, huckleberry everything up there. So good. Now, Lamar Valley, we were hoping that we would see wolves, but we didn't. We didn't get there early enough or stay late enough in order to see them. But we did see a ton of bison. There's just herds of them up there. You know, calves, nursing, and we actually heard some of the bison that were very vocal, making their presence known. But just so cool to see. And we did see 2 bear. We saw one on Wednesday and one on Thursday. And I think that was about it. We were hoping to see like moose or something, but we saw a lot of cool stuff. Oh, and the ravens. The ravens are enormous. That was actually one of the things we saw at Biscuit Basin was there was a huge raven that first landed in a tree. Very vocal, very loud, very cheeky. And then it landed in the back of a truck and was like stealing crumbs out of the truck, which was hilarious. So the ranger that we spoke to said that they're very big there because they do steal people food. But we saw a lot of them. That was really pretty cool because you don't really see ravens in this part of the country much. We see crows, not ravens, but they were awesome. So yeah. And then we left, of course, we saw Mammoth Hot Springs. We hadn't done that to the last because we went through it every day to get in and out of the park. So we saw that. And then went home and ate as much of the food as we could. And we, of course, overbought a little bit. But hopefully we left some stuff that wasn't open and we're like, donate to a food pantry if you can. So then Friday we headed to the airport and everything was good. And then our plane landed. It said it was on time. And then it said it was delayed. And we're like, what's going on? So the announcement came over the speaker that someone had stolen a part off the exit door of the plane. Now, what we surmised afterwards is when we got on a plane, finally, hours later, there is a clear plastic cover that goes over the exit handle that you would pull down like a fire alarm handle to release the door. That's the only thing that we can think of that got stolen because nothing else would be removable on the door. You'd have to pull the plastic part off to pull the handle if there was an emergency. But apparently, somebody took it with them. And they can't fly in the plane without one. So, they told us that they didn't have any of that part in the Bozeman airport. And they had just missed a flight coming out of Dallas to send one up. So they had to wait for the next flight coming out of Dallas to bring that part to Bozeman. So, originally we were delayed to like 4 o'clock. Then it was 7 o'clock. Then it was later. We were supposed to leave the airport at 1:21 p.m. We did not leave until 10:20 p.m. Now, I gotta say, American Airlines took really good care of us. They gave all of us a food voucher. It was only $12, but at least it was something because we did have one last dinner all together. There was a very nice restaurant. Wasn't there when I used to live there, which is great. They've got a ton of food choices now. But we had a nice sit-down dinner together before we headed off. And I can imagine how stressful it was for the people working the counter because that was a full plane. So hundreds of people that they had to reroute, get hotels for in other places. The food voucher is no big deal. It was right there, but that was a lot. So they did a great job. So we wound up having, of course, to spend the night in Chicago because there was only one other flight, I think, leaving Chicago on Friday after our original. We were supposed to leave Chicago at 5 to fly home to Bozeman. We were supposed to go home like 8 or so, something like that. And I think there was only other one flight from Chicago to Buffalo. And of course we missed it. So they put us up for a night in Chicago. They gave us 2 hotel rooms because we had 5 of us. Max and Abby, of course, were flying from Chicago to Philly. So they wound up once we landed in Chicago, they went a totally different direction, different hotel. And and their flight out was much earlier than ours. I think they left Chicago at like 11. We didn't leave until like 2:40. So they put us up in a hotel, Holiday Inn Express, and they have new breakfasts that are awesome. Really full choices, and they have a pancake maker instead of the waffle maker. So you press a button, and the pancake batter squirts out and goes down like this little conveyor belt, and the pancakes pop out at the end. It was great. Loved it. So, nice rooms, very clean. You know, we got in at like 3 a.m. They were great. We were able to sleep, have a good breakfast, and then took a shuttle back to the airport. We had to leave at like 10:30 because their checkouts were 11, and they didn't run shuttles much after that. So that was the one that we got a spot on. And then we just hung out in the terminal, and I stitched. I posted, of course. It's like, what else are you going to do when you're stuck in the airport? You're going to stitch. So I made my little nest area. I got my Starbucks and stitched for a couple of hours. I got a lot of likes I posted that on the Stitching with the Housewives Facebook group because I was working on one of their projects, and got a lot of likes. So that was fun. Overall, though, we had a spectacular time. Just great camaraderie. We had a lot of fun together. We saw so many beautiful things. It was really lovely, and I'm glad that we got to go. Unfortunately, the morning after we got home, we got the news that we had one of our family members in Wisconsin had passed. We knew it was coming. She was in hospice, but still sucks. So we had a lot of communication back and forth with the family who are in Wisconsin. That's where pretty much everybody is. And so that Friday, so we got home Saturday night, 21 hours after we were supposed to from our trip. The next morning we got the news on Sunday, and on Friday we were in the car heading to Wisconsin for the funeral. The funeral itself was absolutely lovely. She had planned the whole thing herself, and so that was really meaningful. We did get to see all of the family. Everybody was there. We got to see Matthew and Brittany, who we didn't get to see, like, you know, we had originally planned on doing, and we got to spend the day with them and had a nice long dinner. So that part was nice. We brought home a desk that belonged to, it was Phil's mom. We brought home a desk that had belonged to her, and so we rearranged the dining room to fit it in, and it's really lovely to have this beautiful piece that reminds us of her when we see it. The cool thing was, this was really cool. She wrote short stories, she wrote poems, and she included one in the service that was this beautiful poem about, you know, having your path. My path is all planned out today, and then something happens, you know, kind of one of those God wink kind of moments that something happens that makes your plans even better. And she wrote it the day I was born. Not just on my birthday, but the day I was born. So that was kind of like this cool coincidence. And so I'm going to take the poem and reprint it and, you know, embellish it a little bit, and we're going to frame it and put it up. So there's that. And then we got home, and then that whole week pretty much we spent getting ready for Brooke's graduation party, which was this past Sunday. I made a scrapbook for her, as I've done for my boys. Max's is like half done, so I need to get back to his. And I got to do Vince's next year, but I basically just, I have like a page per school year. So I have an 8x10, because we had an 8x10 of frames on the wall all the way through the kids in school. And every year I would change the 8x10 for their school picture. So I took all of those and put like a page per, some stickers. I do want to go back, as I did for Max and Sam, and have some snapshots of dance recitals and the first day and that kind of thing. But that takes a little bit more digging back through the annals of all of our family photos and seeing what I can find and put in there. But I worked on that, baked some cookies, made chocolate covered blueberries, which is one of the best things in the world. Basically, you melt chocolate and you throw blueberries in it and you scoop it out, you put it on a tray, put it in the fridge, and then they're cold. And if you do dark chocolate, then it counts as being good for you because there's antioxidants in dark chocolate and blueberries. But we had a great time at her graduation party. Her mom hosted it out at their house. They have a really big yard, and so we kind of worked together to get everything, and that was really good. And then this week is kind of doing stuff around the house. I did some quilting. Working on the quilt that was my brother and my sister-in-law's Christmas present for last year. I want to get it done so that when I see them next, I can give it to them. Almost there. I think I should be able to get it done today. I just have 2 borders to finish quilting and then putting the binding on. The crazy thing is that the flannel on the back, which is a red flannel, has turned my sewing machine kind of pink as I'm pushing it through. I don't know if it's because it was so hot and humid the day I was working on it that contributed to it. I don't know. And I washed it. I always, especially red, I am a big wash all the fabric first person. And especially on something red, would hate to have heartbreak. They call it that for a reason. When your dye runs in, you know, when you're like a red dye or dark dye runs into a lighter fabric. So I think their couches are white. So I want to make sure that I'll wash it again before I give it to them, mostly to get a lot of the fluff off of it from the batting kind of, you know, gets on, because there's a black border. So you can see the batting kind of disintegrate on it. So any of my quilting friends out there, any tips on how to get red dye off your machine so it's no longer pink? Because I don't want it to taint the next thing that I work. You know, that would be terrible if it came off. So yeah, that's what we've been up to for the past couple of weeks. It is halfway through the summer. I still have 4 weeks. Well, the last one doesn't really count because I'll be at school. Yay. But I still have a lot of stuff I want to get done. I've read 10 books so far. The last one I read, I'll have to put a picture in here, was called The Wren in the Holly Library. So good. So good. Hoping that there's going to be a second one to go along with it. A little racy in some parts, so for mature audiences only, but has a lot of Celtic mythology in it. Really loved it. It was really, really good. Right now, I don't know where I put it. Oh, here it is. I found it. So this is the one that I picked up when we were in Yellowstone, The Reign of Wolf 21. And I started that yesterday while I was in the waiting room in doctor's office, because that's the other thing teachers do during the summer is all your appointments. Super good. And it's kind of cool because it's kind of like a love story between Wolf 21 and 42, who was his alpha for most of the time of the pack. So, I read The Route That Takes You Home by Melanie Lagerschlot. I'm not sure how you say that. She wrote the Blossom series. No, not the season series. So it's like the Blossom series, the Firefly season. That's what I mean. Blossom season. And this is kind of in the same community. It's like the town over. And this main character is a mail carrier who kind of moved home after she had sort of a tragic incident happen to her in Chicago. So she went home, and now she's solving mysteries that happen along her way, along her route. So I liked the first one, and I'll get the other one. They're in my Kindle Unlimited, which is evil because I finished one, and there's, you know, thousands more just waiting for me to pick them up. So I'm trying the Wolf 21. I'm trying to make sure that I'm actually reading hard copies of books too, because I have so many of those as well. But, you know, the cool thing was the Holly and the Wren library. I could listen to it on my Kindle while I was working. So that was nice. So, alrighty. So I don't have any FFOs. I don't have any FOs. I have a ton of whips and new starts. So let's get to those because I talked for 23 minutes already. Thank you if you stuck with me to hear about my trip to Yellowstone. Maybe I should put a disclaimer at the beginning. It's like, if you don't want to hear about Yellowstone, skip ahead to 23 minutes. So, all right. So in June and the beginning of July, I did quite a bit of patriotic stitching. And then kind of petered off a little bit. So the Stars and Stripes, I did finish that one in June. And then this is, Freedom Farm. They're both stitching with the Housewives. And this one really, I need like one more night. I need to just knock it out. So hopefully I can get that done. Obviously it won't be up. I just took my patriotic stuff down and put up sunflowers. I do like lemonade. I have all these cute little lemonade decorations in my kitchen. And then I have sunflowers pretty much through like the living room and the dining room. But not really fall. It doesn't say fall on anything. It's just sunflowers. So this one I do hope to get done so I can have them ready for next year. This is done on Monaco 28 count Monaco that I hand dyed to make my own chalkboard color. It does, because I dunked this one twice, and I do feel like it shrunk a lot, so it's probably not really 28, maybe it's like 26, I don't know, but there's not a lot of space in between the holes in the fabric. I used the DMC conversion, except the dark, there's supposed to be two blues, a darker blue and a lighter blue, but the dark blue did not show up against the black at all. So I just have a little bit more of that one, and hopefully I will be ready to go with that pretty soon. And here is the pattern for that one. And I have a cute little house that I can finish that on, and I'll probably put the stars and stripes in one of my little round frames. The next one is Sarah Jane's 1776 Saltbox, and this is a Pinker and Punkin. So I don't have a picture of it handy to show. Her stuff is all free, which is amazing because she's brilliant. She has a new one that just dropped that's a bigger one. It's a fall harvest house, kind of like the summer one that I have that I love so much. The colors look gorgeous. Really, really pretty. She's starting to branch out a little bit more. There's a witchy one I want to do that she did last year. Super cute. So thank you, Melissa, for being so generous. But this is the 1776 salt box, and I'm doing this on Carolina linen because I did the other salt box patriotic one I have last year on the same, so they'll go together. I do think that I'm going to run a back stitch around that though, so that it doesn't kind of ghost into the fabric too much. I didn't do that on Honey of a Tiny Town, and I kind of regret it now. I mean, you can see them, but it's one of those like, oh, I wish I'd done that instead. This one I don't even know that I worked on in July, but this is Busy Bee Honey, which is a roundabout that I want to have go with my other roundabout. I did the Honey I'm Home in June, and I have those cute little round frames I got from Target that are white. They were in the dollar spot, and I bought a whole bunch of them. But this is done on Monaco that I hand dyed with the green apple color. I did a giant, like an 18 by 24 piece or 18 by 27. Did one big piece and then cut them up into smaller ones so that when I did the Dapper Doodads, they'd all be like, you know, the same. And so I used, I had a couple pieces left and did the roundabouts on those. And then the other big whip that I worked on, I spent a week working on this one, is Emily Call's Love and Learning. It's just gorgeous. And I did, like I said, I worked about a week. So I have one whole page done. There's 4 pages, like 4 big pages, and then a couple little strips. So it's a pretty big piece. And I have 1 page done. I started in the left-hand corner because there wasn't a lot in the center to start with. So I started in the corner, which is not a typical thing for me, but I kind of like it. Hopefully you can see that. And doing this on parchment by Weeks Dye Works. I picked up a fat half yard when I was at the stitching corner, and I love it. Beautiful piece of fabric. It's very soft. I think that's the difference between that and like the stuff you buy in the tube in the store. And thankfully, being a fat half, I do have quite a bit more of it I can use for other projects. I originally bought it to do Mary Poppins on, which maybe someday I will do Mary Poppins, especially because it was supposed to be for Mom. But for now, I'm loving it on here. I'm trying to work my way over to the house. So I think I'm doing like this branch right here next, and then I can start on the house. So I can do like, you know, strand of floss in the house, go do something else. Strand of floss in the house, do something else. Because that house is pretty big. I know there's bigger ones out there, but that I'm not used to doing. I've done enormous stitchings in the past. Like I have Paula Vaughn's that are, you know, this big, full coverage. But I haven't done that in a while. So, and that's kind of how I do stuff. I try not to just do like the whole tree and then I back and forth so I didn't get bored on stuff. All right, so those were all my whips. And then I have some new starts. So I told you last time that I was planning on having a couple car stitches. I have determined that Ada is the only thing for me for car stitching because it's so much easier to see what you're doing. So my first car stitch for the summer is the July month to month from Stitching with the Housewives. And I started this on our trip to Yellowstone. I took it with me. The first couple stitches were actually on the plane too. I did a little bit while we were there, relaxing in the evenings, and then I did a whole heck of a lot while we were waiting in the airport. And then I also worked on it on our way back from Wisconsin. So it's probably a little more than half done because I do have the barn pretty much set. But there's all the awesome flowers and the truck over here. So yeah, maybe not quite half. But it is great to work on in the car. We have a wedding back in Wisconsin at the end of August. So that's another 10-hour trip. And we do, when we go disc golfing, sorry, curls sticking out. When we go disc golfing or mountain biking and we have to drive to where we're going, I take stuff in the car. Although the last time we went anywhere, Vince was driving because he needs to kind of hone his skills so that he can get his license before the beginning of the school year. And I don't like stitching in the back seat quite as much as in the front. It makes me a little bit more woozy. But this will definitely get finished this summer so I can have it up next summer. This is on Cracked Pine. I'm thinking it's Fabric Flare. I'm pretty sure. It's one of the ones that starts with F. Well, I don't remember. It must be that one. And I love it because it adds to like that barn cottagey or whatever. Like, you know what I mean. I'm doing this with all the called for, except instead of the ribbon red, I think it was. What do they call for? Licorice red. Instead of the licorice red, I'm using Ruby Slippers because when I went shopping at Stitching Corner, which is my new LNS, she has all of her thread or floss on the wall in rings alphabetically. So I was looking for ribbon red for something else, and Ruby Slippers was on the same little ring. And I was like, ooh. First of all, the name. Great name. But it has a much bigger variegation to it. So these flowers right there, all one piece of floss. Look at how much the variegation is. I love it. So I was like, I'm going to use it for the July. And then I'm using the licorice red for something else that I hadn't even planned. So that was new start number 1 for the summer. And it's coming along, but that is my car stitch. So I will keep working on that in the car. And then I have another car stitch that I started. It's all released now, but this is the annual Christmas mystery stitch from Fat Quarter Shop. So they did it in 5 sections. And when I started, I think all 3 of them had been put out. And then the 4th one, and so all of it's out. So this one I was thinking I definitely wanted to do it. I liked the quilt is gorgeous. I liked the colors that I saw on this one, which is the licorice red that I didn't use for July. Seashelly, I had 4-leaf clover, and I just switched out. I didn't have any of the English ivy, so I went with steamed broccoli. But when I was thinking about it, I was like, oh, what fabric can I do? What fabric can I do? And then I think I was watching Lindy Stitches, and somebody said something about sparkly, and I was like, ooh, sparkly Ada, because then I can work on it in the car. So I don't know that you can see it sparkle. Maybe a little bit. It's in there. But I love the sparkly Ada. It's just the Charles Craft or whatever. You can get it at Joann's. It's super soft. Like normally, I think maybe one of the reasons I don't normally work on Ada is because it's so stiff when you get it out of the tube. But this is not. It's really soft. Someone asked me once if it snags the floss as you're moving it. Never. It's never a problem. But that one's turning out. I did a lot of this on the way to Wisconsin, which was great in the car with the border because it just repeated. So this is another car stitch that I will continue working on, but it is super cute. So thank you to Fat Quarter Shop for the freebie, because it is pretty awesome. Oops, sorry. Oh, I just remembered I forgot to tell you something. I'll have to pause and go grab it because I won something. Speaking of Lindy stitches, I'll tell you that story in a minute. All right, so the next thing I started, okay, we're good. All right, so the next one that I started is another Sal, and this is the one from Kathy Haberman at, oops, wrong sheet. Kathy Haberman at Hands On Design that she's doing with Chantel from Chantel's 141 and Nicole Spohr. So this is the Hyggie Holiday Sal. And if you haven't seen this yet, it's only available through the end of August, and then it's going to go in the vault. Nicole is doing a live stitch with me on Friday nights. I haven't been able to catch one yet, but they're doing it in quadrants. And then Chantel's portion is the beautiful frame. Now, I'm choosing to do mine in the blues. There's 4 colorways that you can choose. The original from the print, that was the inspiration. The blues, there's a hot forest one, and then a Christmassy one. So I have a little collection of reindeer. They're all silver that I put out sometimes in December. I don't think I did this year because I had so much stitching stuff that had to go somewhere. But it's usually up through January. And I thought if I did this in a silver frame, I could put it out with the reindeer and it could be, you know, wintry instead of just holiday. So, so this has kind of become my upstairs stitch. We don't have AC through the house and it's killing me. Like right now, my hair is probably frizzing all over the place because it's hot already and it's not even noon. But we have AC in our bedroom. So sometimes it's like 7 o'clock, 6 o'clock, and we're like, we're going upstairs to the AC. So this is the one that's upstairs in my room so I can stitch on it there. So I only have a portion of quadrant 1 done, but it's beautiful. It's going to be really pretty. I'm doing this on the Molly, which I forget who the designer is. Sorry about that. But this is another piece of fabric I picked up at the Stitching Corner. And you can see it. There's just a slight bit of modeling. Just like a darker cream color. Almost tan. But it's really lovely and kind of subtle, you know. So I've been working on that one. Sorry, I'm going to roll it up here because I don't want to have a giant mess. I need to get off this porch soon because with all the windows on this porch, this room becomes a sauna. The mornings, usually it's pretty comfortable. It's not comfortable in the afternoon, but it's already really hot out here. And I wore my hair down and I'm regretting it because it's making me very hot. Okay. So the next one, and last one, I guess, is also a Sal. And this one I think I saw it on Facebook. Oh, I just saw Teachers Pay Teachers has a sale. I don't need to know that. Maybe I do. Hold on. Oh yeah, I'm going to have to watch for when they have a sale because there's a bunch of coffee stuff I want for my classroom. Yes, because that's how we roll. All right, so this is a mystery Sal from Historical Sampler Company. And I just saw the little snippet over here. That was the first section on Facebook. And I was like, oh, I'm going to do that. So she has an Etsy shop. She's from England, which is cool. I love it when there's like international designers. That I think that's so cool. It's like, you know, you get it from across the pond in almost no time at all. I originally started it on pewter because I thought it would be cool on the gray, but I think there was too much blue in the pewter. And when I realized that I had messed up in the first section, I was like, forget it. I'm not going to rip it out and start over. I'm just going to start over, which I don't usually do that, but I'm glad I did. So I'm doing this on just regular Irish linen, tea-dyed Irish linen. And so look at how cute. Now, someone else in the Facebook group mentioned that they had used some sparkly floss. I was like, oh, sparkly floss. Even better. So I did the spider and their little faces in black Etoile, which is a little sparkly, from DMC. And then there's also a bat and a cat in what I've seen so far. And then there's a couple ghosts, and I'm going to do those with glow-in-the-dark floss. Because why not? When you have Halloween stuff, isn't that the fun thing to be able to have it be a little bit, I don't know, it's not cheesy, but a little bit more extra, I guess. So I'm enjoying that one too. All right, so that is everything I worked on in July. And the quilt as well. So hopefully I will be able to show that to you completed next time. I also have one for my niece that I want to finish up. And then I have for the niece and nephew, or the nephew and his new niece, getting married at the end of August. I have an idea for them of what I'm going to be doing. So I need to get to the fabric store soon. All right. So I did win something. And it was really fun because I was in the airport in Bozeman right as we had heard that we were going to be stuck there for hours and hours and hours and hours. And I got out my earbuds and I put on Flosstube and Lindy stitches. And right at the very beginning of her video, she said my name. And it was like, woo, that's so awesome. So I won the 12 Days of Christmas Stockings from Annie Beez. And I love Annie Beez. She and her daughters just crack me up. So cute. I know Alicia, the Fanciful Flamingo, who apparently her inaugural retreat was spectacular. Like, the next one's already sold out. So go Alicia. I'm so proud of you. And the Proper Stitcher, she was there too. They're doing a stitch along. They're working on these together and they're really cute. They did them on Ada, which, you know, that's kind of cute. And I do have some black Ada. We'll have to see how I feel about it. I love the patterns. They're all adorable, but I do have one little problem. The 11 Pipers is holding the flute the wrong way. Now, I know that this is very easy. I cannot tell you. It's one of my pet peeves in life. I've been playing the flute longer than I've been cross-stitching. It's one of my pet peeves when people display it being held wrong. From the picture, he is holding it to his left. Oh no, he's holding it. Yeah, he's holding it to his left. Like if he was standing, he'd be holding it like this. It is physically impossible to play the flute that way. It's over here. So I'm going to have to switch him because I can't put that out with him holding it the wrong way. But I do love the book. I do love the book. And I do love them. They're so funny. And they do beautiful stuff. They do a lot of work besides just Annie's work. And Chelsea and I think, have like the same taste in books, which is really kind of fun. So I'm so happy. And to get a shout out, you know, to have Lindy Stitches say your name is like, oh my gosh. So that was really cool. And it did make my day in the stupid airport much brighter for her saying my name. So thank you so much to Lindy and thank you to Annie. And I will let you know when I start those. I bet you could, I wonder if the numbers are in like gold metallic. That would be cool. Add a little gold metallic. All right. So plans for July. So I was watching Jen's Stitch Niche. She is a college professor and she has a little Etsy shop. I started following her because I bought some patterns from her last year. I think I bought the June month to month because it was the strawberry one. And I was like, I must have it right now. I can't wait until it comes out in paper. And she was like one of the only ones who I could find it in stock. So, but she is really fun. She's got a couple of good ideas about, there was one about having a snow day stitch. And I was like, oh, I'm all over that. So that whenever we have a snow day, now I have something to work on. But she talked about working on things a week at a time. And she didn't do it like Sunday to Saturday week. She did it date wise. So August 1st to August 7th. And I was like, you know what? I'm going to try that for August. So here are my August plans. August 1st to the 7th. So this first week, I'm going to work on farm stuff. I have my calendar girls from Sugar oh shoot, what was her name? Sugar Stitches, I think it is. Yeah. I did all of her Calendar Girl set. And the August one is this cute little farm, kind of like country fair thing. And so I have some farm stuff to go with that. And then I have my grandmother's chicken and rooster that were in her kitchen when I was a little girl. And so I wanted to put some stuff out with that too. I know that's like a treasure when people find it. So I wanted to put mine out. So I'm going to do a couple things from Chelsea and Priscilla, because you know them and farm stuff. So I have On the Farm roundabout. So I'm going to do that. And I have another piece of Monaco that I hand dyed myself that I'm going to use for these. Hold on one second, because my husband's about to come back into the house from dropping off his car. Okay, so besides the On the Farm roundabout, I also have the Bless This Farm tier tray tidbit. And this is going to fit on that little farm that I have from the Dollar Tree. The Dapper Doodad was too big, but this is a rectangle more than a square, and that will work pretty well. And I love the colors in it. I love the little pig. So cute. And then this one also comes with Farm Sweet Farm as a freebie. And I don't know if this one came with a freebie. I don't think this one did. But I might get another one that had chickens specifically to go with the chickens. Or maybe for next year, the Let's Go Ride a Bike Garden Gate had chickens and daisies. And that would be super cute with the vintage chickens. So this week is farm. Get those two, and then we'll see from there. It might be that if I finish those two, I go back and finish those patriotic ones and try to get those finished up. And I do also want to stay on the three sales that I started. What else? So then, let's see. Sorry, they got discombobulated on me. For the week of August 8th through the 15th, I have some coffee stuff that I'm going to do. And I did actually, these were what I put in my bag for August 24 and 24. So I had them all ready, set aside. That 24 and 24 is not really going anywhere. Although these might get done for that. But I don't know. It was fun at the beginning, and then other stuff came out. So I don't know if I'll even like plan on, maybe I'll do the Whip Go board or something next year. That I don't know. But I am probably going to go back and reorganize all of my bags. Sorry, curlies in my face and off the side. Because I have a bag that's like a bee, and granted, my bags are not the gorgeous project bags that everybody else shows. Mine are the ones that you buy in the end of the aisle at Joann's, but that's okay. Oh, the new Halloween one is adorable. I'll show it to you next time. But I think I'm just going to go through and like all the patriotic stuff goes in the patriotic bag. I've got bee bags. I've got ones for holidays. And then it's probably better than trying to do the 24 and 24 because then other things come out and I'm off course. So rather than stressing about it, I'm just going to go with the flow. All right. So anyway, this is from Finally a Farm Girl, and this is one of the Oscars. Home is coffee in one hand and a book in the other. And my classroom is coffee themed, so I want to do this one to go there. I might be swapping a bookcase with one of my besties at school that has more display space in it for my tchotchkes, because, you know, that's important. That's how I decorate my classroom. I mean, I'm going to spend that much time in there. It's going to be fun for me too. Now I'm debating changing that green. It's a little limey for me. It's cute, but my classroom is like Starbucks green. It's like that bright emeraldy green. So I'm going to see, I'll do a floss toss and see what it looks like if I just switch out that lime green for something more Starbucksy. So I want to do that one in the second week. And then I also have this one I started. There's like 3 stitches in here. Like this green. This is the green. That's like my classroom green. This was I bought this one, oh my gosh, like so long ago. It's probably one of the first things I bought from Primrose. Oh, but first coffee. And I'm going to switch out the blue for green. So that one shouldn't really take me too long. I just need to focus on it and get it done. And actually, if I use this green, this is 700. It's a great green. It's one of my first colors I used to use all the time because it was Christmassy. But this green with the other one for Oscar would be perfect because then they'll kind of go together. So that is the second week. And hopefully I'll be back with you at that point. This time I went a little bit longer than I wanted to in between. Then the week of the 16th through the 22nd, I'm going to go back to Love and Learning because I want to get that one done. And maybe I'll do that like every month, try to go back to it. And then the 23rd through the 29th, besides my car stitching, because I'll be doing quite a bit, I have some strawberry things I want to do since my library is strawberry themed this year because it's Love My Library. I know, it's terrible. Can't help it. So everything's going to be strawberry. So I have this one left from that set. This is Cherry Hill Stitchery. And I did the other two. I have the Tea Party one. I have the Strawberry Friends. This is Berries in the Round. And so I think I have enough. I didn't do it with Louisiana Hot Sauce. I think I did it with Red Ribbon, Black Coffee, and Steamed Broccoli. So I think I have enough to get that one done on the flax because I changed my mind about the flax and what I was doing with it. I was originally going to do the House of Love and Learning on it, and then I changed that to parchment. So now I have this beautiful piece of flax that I can use on a whole bunch of other projects, like probably these. So this is a Pinker and Punkin. I have two of these. This is the Strawberry Saltbox that I have been wanting to do forever because I just love it. It's got a little bird in it. I love the strawberry vine that goes around it. And then this one is new, and she started putting pictures on her the sheet with all the colors, which is great because then I don't have to go look them up. But this is a new one this year, Strawberry Manor, and I love that big bird over there. So cute. So I want to do the two of those. So I have those for my strawberry display. And then the last one, I don't have it handy, is Blueberry House, which is also a Pinker and Punkin. So that's going to be Pinker and Punkin week. Let me see. How quick? Hold on. Okay, so I found a whole bunch of those to show you. So this is the Blueberry Buckle, Aunt Betty's Blueberry Buckle House. And I think that one would be adorable as well. And then this is another Pinker and Punkin. This one I think was in honor of her sister. Super cute little pickin' berries. She did oop, those are books. Sorry. That's what I do. I take screenshots of books, like all the books I want to read. These were stamps. So these are all tiny, and she gave you a way that you could do all 9 of them together, or you can do them in little ones. And I was kind of debating because the little ones in tiered trays would be really, really cute. But I also like them all together. I don't know. And then this was the one. This is her new Harvest one that I mentioned. Love that. Super, super cool. So the third week. The fourth week, strawberry stuff. And then the 30th and 31st, I think is when I'm going to do like finishing. That's also like my last couple days of freedom before we officially go back. And then September is going to be all Halloween, all the time, all Hallows Eve stitching. I have so many. I mean, I have that sale that I just started. I've got Halloween stuff that I started last year and a ton of new ones. Like, did you see Priscilla and Chelsea's new one? Tricks and Treats with that house. Oh my gosh, I love the house. And their new Pumpkin Hollow Lane, I think it is, or Pumpkin Blossom Lane, where each house is going to have like flowers with it. Also adorable. Can't help it. Oh, and Chris the Camping Stitcher is starting a birthday sale. She started it technically yesterday, the 31st. And I'm going to do that one as well. It's Luminous Fiber Arts. Here we go. I had it this time right next to me. So this is the Quaker. And I've had my eye on this one for a while. There's a lot of really awesome Quakers out there. But I loved that the smoke coming out of the house spelled Halloween. And that it has Nevermore in it. Because, you know, English teacher. So that was really cool. Now I think she's doing it with the colored version. So it's mostly black coffee, but there's some of the motifs are done in color. Now last year I ordered this from Color and Cotton, because it looked black on the website, but when I got it, it is this absolutely gorgeous purple. It's called Witch's Brew. Incredibly appropriate. I don't know how well you... Oh, there you go. You can kind of see the purples. Now, I only have 3 skeins. I'm going to need to get 3 more and pray for the dye lot to be similar enough that, you know, it's going to be okay. But it's also variegated, and I'm sure that I can fudge, like, where I put what, so it doesn't look too far different. But I thought that was gorgeous. They called for fabric is the Vintage Smoky Night, or Stormy Night, which I think I'm going to get. My, the website says that my new LNS has it. And because it's a pretty big piece. I thought about dyeing it myself, but the biggest piece of linen that I can get at the store is only 18 by 24, I think. No, it was smaller than that, I think, and that's not big enough. It was the size smaller, whatever it might be, and it's not big enough. This is pretty big if you do it on 28. So I'm going to see about getting the Stormy Night. Since my birthday's in 10 days, shouldn't have a problem getting it and ordering 3 more of the Witch's Brew. One last thing for my, only 2 last things. The other thing I'm going to do for a car stitch, if I finish July month to month and the Star Wonder, my next car stitch is going to be this one. I'm going to do it on black Ada, so we'll see how that goes. I am going to use the called for Classic Colorworks because I like the variegation. Although I think my new thing is that I am not going to use bamboo. Especially on something like this. There's a lot of white in that. That house is white. And I honestly don't see the variegation in any of the whites that come from the overdyes. And when it's $2.60 a skein versus 60 cents a skein, especially when you need like at least 2 of them for something like this. So, oh, actually the house is not, the house is, oh, it is bamboo. Yeah, the house is bamboo. So, other than that, I'm going to use the other ones that are on here because I do like the variegation, especially like this is Tropical Paradise that they used. Oh, sorry. Excuse me. Yes, that's how I sneeze. So that's going to be a car stitch. And then my other thing that I'm going to work on, and I might head to the fabric store today or maybe on Saturday, depending on the weather. We might get some rain this weekend. So my plan for Kenny and Bree's quilt is to do the Primrose Cottage, and I think this was a Friday freebie, I'm pretty sure. Must have been this year because it's got that awesome sampler that she just did. But I'm going to do this one. And the finished quilt is 35 by 35. That is way too small because I want this to be something that they can snuggle under. And I'm going to do it in Christmas. I checked with one of the cousins when I was out there because, like Nellie and Lindsay say, giving people quilts that are a holiday theme or a seasonal theme is a good way to go sometimes because you don't always know the colors of their decor. But if they're decorating for a holiday, you know, the holiday stuff will win out. So I checked with cousin, and this couple, she said Christmas would be good, and the other couple are going to do Halloween. They're getting married right before Halloween. I don't know what pattern I'm going to do for them yet, but I thought that this one would be a good, it's adorable when it's all done. I think there's a picture that doesn't show any information. Yeah. So this one you can see the cool gingham effect in the middle, and then they've got all the colorful stuff all the way around, and I really liked that. So what I'm going to do though to make it bigger is it calls for blocks that are essentially when they're sewn together, these are 3 by 3. I'm going to make them 5 by 5 instead. And so instead of adding more rows, I'm just going to make the blocks all bigger. And then adjust the sashing and the border out here accordingly. And then I'll probably actually put another set of sashing here because 35 to 35, they meant it like a table topper, not something that you would drape over yourself. I am a firm believer in like a border before the binding, because then it goes into the binding better. Especially something like if you were just doing it like they did for the table topper, because 35 by 35 is only like 3 feet by 3 feet. You're not going to use that. You're going to put it out and it's going to be a display piece. Something you're putting over you want it to be really sturdy. So having an extra border and then have the binding go into that rather than a pieced binding, I'm kind of from that school of thought. So I'm just going to kind of adjust the sizes and then go do some shopping. But it would be, I'm going to go for, you know, like, I don't know, I guess I'll have to see, you know, something white with like a holly pattern or whatever, and then we'll go with, you know, dark fabric and a lighter fabric, and then something fun for the edges. And that is my plan for that one. I think also because the way that it is sewn, you do strips, like you sew, you can take this row, so row A, and you make 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 of them, but you can sew the strips together and then cut. So you're not sewing, you know, every block to every block. You're going to cut it, like make one big piece and then cut it into all your strips and then do that for the other one. And so that's a quick way of quilting. I think it'll be very pretty. I'll show you when it's all done. And I also have a baby quilt to make because one of the nieces is having a little girl, and I'm pretty sure she has a farm theme for the nursery. So I'm going to see what I can find as far as awesome, cuddly, really, I love doing flannel for baby quilts. So then they're really snuggly, and we'll see what I can find with some cute farm stuff for that. So that is it. For somebody who doesn't have any FFOs or FOs, that was a long video. So thank you for sticking with me through all my Yellowstone adventures and what I've been working on and all of my plans. I hope to be back in 2 weeks. So that would be right after my birthday. So maybe I'll have a really awesome haul to show off. Stitching Corner, be ready for me to hit that store. But I hope you all have a wonderful couple of weeks, that you can stay cool, you get some stitching done, enjoy the last little bits of your summer. If you're Southern, who their kids go back to school much sooner than ours do, enjoy the Olympics. It was Flosstube and Cousins who was talking, I forget where she found the prompts, but there were prompts for the Olympics, like, so something with water on it for the day that's swimming. I thought that was really cool. So happy stitching, stay cool, and we'll see you next time. Thanks so much. Bye.